Hey, what's up? This is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. And who's ready for some fighting words? In this video, I want to ask a question. Who won the press conference between Tim Tszyu and Keith Thurman? Really quick, if you like the videos, please take the time, subscribe to the channel. Also, if you could, please hit that thumbs up button. It does help and it does show love and supports this channel. So the question is, who won the press conference? I believe Keith Thurman, by far, landslide. He won the press conference. He was entertaining. It was funny. He did a little bit of the Muhammad Ali with the rhyming and all that. It was fun. There's a huge contrast in personality traits, I can tell you that, between him and Tim Tszyu. Tim looked visibly irritable. Now, it could just simply be that Keith turned the notch up so high. Or maybe, before the cameras got to rolling, Keith was acting a much different way. Could simply be that. And then, once the cameras go on, it's, lights, camera, action. And Keith got that. Clearly, Tim was taking things a little bit more seriously. It is a press conference, and he does need to get used to it. He's going to be seeing many more of these, so he needs to get used to it. But Keith Thurman, like I said, he was entertaining. He was funny. He made everybody laugh. He poked fun at Tim, just basically saying, he doesn't have much of a style. He's flat-footed. And he's, again, here's the thing. Keith Thurman was basically exploiting Tim Tszyu. And he's like, well, here, if you're going to do psychological damage on somebody, you can't just call them names. Oh, you're ugly or whatever the case may be. You also have to throw some, sprinkle some type of truth in there as well to give that individual some doubt. And what Keith was saying was, all right, well, you're flat-footed. This is something that we know. You don't have the best footwork in the world. I'm going to exploit that. That's the thing that I see that gives me an edge, and it takes a few notches off your scorecard. It's going to be that. While Tim took the bait and said, well, meet me in the center of the ring. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. You're the bigger guy, and you're the knockout artist, moving forward. I'm not anymore. I'm no longer one time. I'm sometime. So I'm not going to do that. Absolutely not. That's Keith Thurman in the show. Now we move into another thing that I noticed in this press conference. And it's great to see the psychological aspects of what's going on in a fight, because you can tell the mindset of an individual moving in. And Tim was speaking a lot of affirmations for himself, saying it's my time, and, this is my era, and, I'm coming to take over. And, he's speaking very confidently and proudly of himself, as in the past, he was saying, I'm just trying to learn and improve and get better. And now he's also noticing what he's done. His body of work is building and is growing. And now he's coming into his own saying, you know what? Maybe what they're writing about me is true. Maybe what Fighting Words is saying about me is true, because I am doing these things. And maybe this is my moment. Or, the former undisputed champion is missing in action. I'm the man of this division. I'm the king, because we don't know where the former king is. So therefore, I'm the king. And he's really growing into that mindset of it's my time. And I like the growth. We've all seen the physical growth of Tim Tszyu. Now we're seeing the mental growth of Tim Tszyu. And what we need to see next is the merging of the two. And when you get the merging of the two, you get Roy Jones. You get Floyd Mayweather. This is what you get. You get a Muhammad Ali. This is what you get. This is what you get. You get Tyson Fury. This is what you get. Because you have somebody who has the ability and has the mental capacity, the belief, and the physical attribute. When you put those two together, now you have formed something. And it's going to be really hard to get him out of that mindset. And the question is Keith Thurman the guy to do it? Now, what was also interesting was Keith pretty much exposed his hand. And, he's made it be known, I'm not going to be standing still in front of you. So I guess my initial question when I did my fight breakdown, if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. There's going to be a link right over here. But does Keith Thurman still has his legs? Because we didn't see his legs in his last fight. Now, maybe it's because he was fighting somebody that was smaller and moving up, and he felt, there's no way I'm running from a smaller guy. That's not going to happen. You're coming in my backyard. This is my division. Why in the world would I be running from you? Which is fair. And that's an honest, assessment. Or he's gotten older and he no longer has his legs. That's also a fair and honest assessment. Keep in mind, Keith Thurman has had a lot of surgeries. He has had a lot of injuries, and he's older, and he's inactive. So, time waits for no man. I don't care who you are. So there you go. But I do believe in this fight with Tim Tszyu, it will be about strategy solely. And I believe a large part of that strategy is going to be based upon Keith Thurman's ability to move and control the distance of this fight. If he cannot move, if he cannot control the distance of this fight, he has zero shot. I know there are a lot of people picking him to win. And, I get it because of what he once represented in terms of skill level. I think people forget what Keith Thurman used to be. And I'm talking about the Keith Thurman, don't duck me, son, that Keith Thurman, versus the Barrios and the Manny Pacquiao Keith Thurman. Forget those two. It's the don't duck me, son era. The long-haired Keith Thurman. That's the Keith Thurman that needs to show up on the night if he is to face off and be victorious against Tim Tszyu. I think there is no other way. I think it's all about his legs. I think it's all about his movement. I think it's all about his circling the ring. I think it's all about him keeping a very, very strong defense. He's going to need that because I don't think it's a secret in the boxing community that Keith Thurman is weak when it comes to his body. So therefore, he needs to protect his body at all costs. Tim Tszyu is a great body puncher. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He hits really hard. Single shots. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So Keith Thurman needs to have a tight guard. Keith Thurman needs to have a great defense. Keith Thurman needs to be extremely mobile. If he cannot be mobile, and if he cannot keep the distance, there's going to be a problem. There's going to be a problem very, very early. And because me personally, I already feel like Tim Tszyu doesn't necessarily respect him physically. I do think Tim Tszyu thinks this is the biggest challenge that I've had on my resume. This is now the biggest challenge on my resume, without a shadow of a doubt. And I do believe Keith Thurman is. Like I said, without a shadow of a doubt, I think he poses the most threat. And I mean, the reality is Keith Thurman, he's only lost to, a living legend, Manny Pacquiao. But the problem is you can make the argument for Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao was old and slow. So he should have beaten Manny Pacquiao. But that being said, it was a great press conference. I got to give it to him. It was a great press conference. I feel like a lot was revealed in the press conference. Then when you saw them face to face, Tim Tszyu is a lot bigger and he's thicker. And you look at Tim Tszyu's head and then you looked at Keith Thurman's head. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, there is a difference. They fight different weight classes. There's a difference. There's a difference. There's a difference. And if you can't take Manny Pacquiao's punches, if Barrios backed you up, that's all I want to say. I'm going to leave it like that. I think this fight is going to be very, very reminiscent of Thurman versus Porter, because Porter, like Tszyu, is very physical. And I think it's going to be very reminiscent of that fight. Porter only lost that fight by like inches, small little margins. You take that same fighter, put him in a bigger body, and a younger and bigger body that's on an absolute tear, and you have Tim Tszyu. And you have Tim Tszyu. There you have it. So I gotta tell you, I'm going with Tim Tszyu. I'm definitely going with Tim Tszyu. I think it's going to be an absolutely entertaining fight, and I look forward to seeing more of Keith Thurman bringing that classic Keith Thurman out, and that personality, because I do think it's motivating Tim Tszyu, to be honest. And we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. What comes next. I want to see the next press conference if Tim Tszyu dives more into his belonging and into his I'm supposed to be here and this is my time. And if they actually start off with their speeches again, will he lead with that? Because I think that's important. If that's something you lead with, I think it's very important. I think it's on his mind. I think even at this stage in his career, he's already thinking about a legacy. And I think he's thinking about a legacy apart from his father. And I think things are looking good for both guys. Listen, we're the ones who benefit from this fight because it's going to be fireworks. And I don't want to make it seem like Keith Thurman's some walk in the park, because he's not. He does hit hard. Has it been one time in a long time? No, he hasn't. But he's no walk in the park. Keith Thurman has enough of what it takes to put Tim Tszyu down, just as much as Tim Tszyu has what it takes to put Keith Thurman down. I just think Tim Tszyu has more of it. And I think Tim Tszyu has more of it from the opening bell to the last bell. That's what I think. Those are my thoughts. Drop your thoughts down below. Tell me what you think about the press conference. Tell me if you think that I'm on to something when I'm talking about the psychology of both of these fighters. I would love to hear what you have to say. And as always, please like, please share, please subscribe to this channel.